And we're back with another edition of Minor Obsession for you. I'm Sean Newton here with Scott Lieberman, breaking down quite a bit of action for you in this week's edition. We've got our FIU recap merged in with some other sports. We'll touch on men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball, women's golf, women's tennis. Got a lot of stuff to get to. Scott, I'll throw it over to you to kick us off with some FIU football, since you're the FIU fanboy, picking them to win the game, spoke some truths into the air that materialized into real facts. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you felt about your Panthers performance?
Well, they were who I thought they were, a better team than us, and they proved that. And they beat us down pretty handily. The game started off well. We were in it. We were up 10-7. I was checking my updates on my phone at a wedding. I was very excited about that. We had our friend who might have gone on the side of you with the over, getting very excited, bringing scores to us as if we weren't watching it on the phone while people were giving their speeches. And then the second quarter came, and that was kind of all she wrote. We tried to stay competitive, kept it within 17-21, and then the wheels kind of came off as they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. Final score, 48-23, not our best performance. Me and you chop our bets as I bet FIU to cover the 5.5 with the under. You took the over as well as Charlotte. And, I felt pretty good about my pick, and I felt pretty good about the under. I think our defense just underperformed and gave up a lot more points than I expected they would do.
Yeah. Interesting. I learned something this week. I don't think we've done an exact split on any of our football picks so far this year. So I learned if we pick opposite on both picks, we're going to be right no matter what, right? So that helps out life when you're going to be right on 50% of it. I'm going to be right on 50% of it. If you want to follow us, who knows who to pick.
But sometimes you end up like where one person is completely right and the other one's wrong, which is fun, and I hope that's always me. But
I'd rather us just both pick Charlotte all the time. I don't know where your FIU pick came from. Obviously, again, you were right. For me, the big signs of the game, we talked about this last time after the FAU game, long single plays that the defense is giving up. We had a 41-yard long run as the longest for their leading rusher, a 22-yard run, a 20-yard run across three different running backs, and then receiving, two people had 27-yard catches, 14-yard catch. 14's not too bad, but either way, there's a theme here across the past several games, and it starts with having an unhealthy defense and having people have to step up and make plays, and it's going to be a learning process along the way. But at some point, you've got to figure out a way to keep receivers in front of you and for rushes to close the gaps at the line of scrimmage so that running backs aren't making to the second level, third level. And if they do, you've got to have safeties in place to be able to stop that. Seems like those are reoccurring themes we've seen several games over. App State, we saw it. Clemson, we saw it. FAU, we saw FIU. It's kind of a reoccurring theme that I assume Coach Healy, Marcus West, all of those individuals are doing their best to try and come up with a scheme to help stop that. But that seems to be the name of the game in terms of where quite a bit of that scoring came from that really broke this game open.
Yeah, there was definitely, some plays, but they really dominated the line of scrimmage. And though Benny LeMay, who is Mr. Consistent for us, had a great game, 144 yards rushing and a touchdown, still averaging almost 7 yards a carry.
Wait, to go with 90 yards receiving, too. Let's not shortchange him here.
Sorry, to go with 90 yards receiving.
And another touchdown.
Yes, all of that, which is great. They almost had three guys rush for 100 yards, which is crazy. They had over 350 yards rushing with pretty consistent touches from all of them, all averaging over 7 yards a carry, with the third stringer averaging almost 10 yards a carry. So they really dominated that. They had 5 rushing touchdowns. And yeah, I mean, the defense was less than scotch tape for this one. Surprisingly, no big kickoff returns or anything like that, which we're always terrified of. It was just long, sustainable drives with a lot of handoffs. I mean, their passing game wasn't really there. They only had 160 yards passing.
Yeah, well, and on the flip side of the ball, one thing we talked about coming out of the FAU game was Coach Healy's commitment to getting back to the run and not getting too pass happy. And to his credit, even with the score breaking out in the second half, we still only attempted 13 passes for the game. So very rush heavy, which I think is their scheme. That's what they want to do. That worked out well for us. You had 235 yards for us rushing gain, which is great. I mean, obviously, over 350 yards is amazing for FIU, and we'd love to be in that boat too. But we had a good rushing day, and that's where we want our offense to start. That seems to have been a good chance to get back to that for us. Chris Reynolds still doing well with only 10 attempts and having 114 yards and a TD pass. A lot of that obviously went to Benny LeMay, so that helps when your running back's coming out of the backfield and getting a catch and breaking it open. Gives you a lot of yards there. But another big thing I see here is punting too. 36-yard average punt for us. That's not a great day punting wise for Bowler. Hopefully we can get some of that corrected so that change in the field actually really helps us out long term and you start pinning people back a little better than that.
Overall, not like we said, not a great game. Some of the bright spots, I guess, are the usual bright spots. Alex Highsmith having, I think he had about 8 tackles or something like that.
5
tackles, 2 solo, no sacks, unfortunately.
Marquise Watts got a sack, though.
As I predicted, the rest of the defensive line really needed to step up, and he did.
That's fair. I mean, sack a game in college is not too bad. As you mentioned, though, rushing, a big theme here. Hopefully we're not given good game tape for the rest of Conference USA to see ways to exploit our front four on the defense and open up some gaps there. I'll say 0-2 starting Conference USA. Not a great way to start. Hopes of bowl game eligibility not done yet, obviously. We're now 2-4 on the season, so just basically halfway there. And got some good games coming up. Obviously, I think North Texas is our next home game, which will be huge for us. But a lot of people, I think, are starting to wonder what does the rest of the season look like after opening up 0-2 and having to go to Western Kentucky this week, who's 4-2 right now and looking really good, and then North Texas coming to us. So we'll see. Let's hope that our previews for the next couple games involve you being more on the Charlotte side, since you seem to know who's going to win the games, and hope that we get a couple wins here in the next few weeks and actually start looking better on that bowl eligibility front.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm still on the Will Healy fan club. And
oh yeah,
I hope everyone's still behind that. But I think this just shows kind of his youth and experience. He went against 2 big time coaches in the Florida schools with Butch Davis and Lane Kiffin, who have been at big programs and lost handily. I'm not going to say he was necessarily outcoached, but one could say that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you and say that this all comes from the caliber of recruits that FAU or FIU has compared to us. And that's, I mean, I don't think anybody, it's not a disrespect to any of our players. They're playing amazing, but when you start a program and you're only 7 years in, you're still selling that here's what it could be when you're trying to get people to come, and that's not as easy of a sell as saying here's what we are and here's what we have been, here's our 35,000 seat stadium you can go play in front of. It takes a special kind of player to want to come to Charlotte, which in my opinion has us playing harder than most teams on the field, but it also means you've got physical differences in size, things like that. You've got people like Alex Highsmith who start as walk-ons and not even having offers, making it all the way to working his butt off and being hopefully a drafted NFL player at the end of the season. But those are the types of things you have to do to close the gap when you're on this front. It is what it is. We're 0-2 in Conference USA now. Now we've got to figure out a way to pull up our bootstraps and go into Western Kentucky, who we embarrassed last year. So not only are they 4-2 and playing good, they're going to have a big chip on their shoulder against us because we demolished them last season and just absolutely embarrassed them. So it's going to be a difficult game all around this week.
Yeah, it's a really big 2-week stretch here. It's really going to make or break our season. We're going to have to stop the bleeding in this game, or worst case scenario against North Texas, because if we lose both of those, that'll make us fall to 2-6 and pretty much end all bowl eligibility and just try to finish with a similar season as we did last year. Not trying to be gloom and doom.
Are you kidding me?
Just speaking it real. And I love Coach Healy. I like what he's doing. I think there's a lot of energy around the program, and there's going to be some good recruits coming our way. I think injuries have really gotten to us, and it's all about momentum, and we had all that momentum, and now we lost all that momentum. Can we get it back? If not, it's going to be a long couple months.
I can't see your shirt right now. Are you rocking a Western Kentucky shirt over there? I can't quite tell if that's what.
It's a Charlotte 49ers shirt. It's not a loser Brave shirt like what you have on.
Moving on. Men's soccer.
Let's talk about a winner right here. That's what I'm talking about, Sean. Good transition. Number 5. Tell me how wrong I am.
You are wrong. I told you last episode it could not have come quicker. Your prediction we wouldn't be in the top 5 at any point this season was immediately outed in the next rankings. Number 5 in the country, the Charlotte 49ers men's soccer team. Crushing it still. They're second in Conference USA because of ties, but most recent match against number 30 Marshall ended a tie with double overtime and at Transamerica Field. So great match there. Another home shutout. Current record is 8-0-3. Quite a few ties there. And got another big team coming in. This is a rematch of NCAA tournament teams here. Georgia State coming to town October 15th, 7 p.m., Transamerica Field. It's going to be hopping for that one. And then we've got a couple of tough road games against FIU and Florida Gulf Coast, October 18th and October 22nd. So tough little stretch here of some good teams. We'll see. Hopefully we continue the great trajectory we've been on so far. I'm going with our record after these 3 games is 10-0-4. How you feel about that?
I like it. I still think we might lose a game, or I hope we lose a game before we get into the tournament. I'm that guy that always thinks eventually it's got to happen, and I'd rather it happen before, so we don't want that taste anymore. But I'm happy with the undefeated season 2. That'd be cool.
One other thing to mention here, hard to keep straight because honestly we have so many Conference USA Player of the Week mentions for Charlotte so far this season. Like every team seems to have a Conference USA Player of the Week every week, it seems like. Elliot Panica, our goalie, co-defensive Player of the Week right now. So congrats to him. Always keeping it real inside the goalposts there, and shutout against Marshall, doing great things.
Did you just say always keeping it real in between the goalposts?
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
Maybe you should start making him shirts or something. I think he'll like that.
Yeah. in the wicket. No, that's cricket, not soccer.
Yeah, good try though.
But men's soccer's crushing it, just like they do, and I feel like this momentum's going to keep rolling on. We're going to keep having good things to talk about over the next few weeks.
Well, transitioning from one nationally ranked Charlotte 49er team to another, and transitioning from Conference USA Players of the Week to other Conference USA Players of the Week. Let's talk about the women's golf team, number 17 in the country, which is fantastic. And Ashley Fowler and Eleanor Sudo were the co-golfers of the week last week after we won our first ever tournament. We won the Yale Invitational. So that's the first tournament that the women's golf team has ever won. That's a big win. That's exciting stuff. We followed that up with the Tar Heel Invitational. Not a great showing. We ended up being tied for 13th at the end. So, but still top 25 ranking, players of the week. I feel good about the women's golf team. I know last year we just missed the NCAA tournament literally by the hairs on my chinny chin chin. Right, they were ranked 59th in the top 58, make it to the tournament. So we're right in the hunt right now, top 25. Continue a nice, strong season. We should definitely be in that tournament, and why not win it, right? It's all about chipping a chair, being there, and I really like where the women's golf program is going. The more you win, the more you recruit. And obviously our men's golf program has been ranked number 1 in the country multiple times in the last 10 years. So I think the women's golf team is just kind of picking up where the men's golf team left off.
Yeah, I love it. We both really enjoy golf, and so it's good to have teams nationally ranked that you can root for in a sport that you really enjoy. I just wish, my one wish would be that it were easier to watch college golf tournaments. Be able to tune in and see it rather than just having to click the little live scoreboard update all day.
Yeah, well, I would say that is the future. I remember back in the day, which wasn't that long ago when we were in college, watching the men's basketball away games, listening to it on the radio and watching the little balls bounce with circles on the laptop.
On the score tracker.
Yeah, look how far we've come with the big revenue sports. So the rest of them will only come in time.
I would be excited. I'd probably watch every golf tournament we had for sure if it was available on TV easily or streaming. So I talked about a winner. You talked about a winner. On to another winner. Women's soccer. First in Conference USA right now. Not quite the number 5 ranking in the country, but they're working it. They're climbing. They're 10-3 on the season, doing big things. Recently, they beat Middle Tennessee 5-2. And a couple good games coming up. We got UAB on the road October 17th. And then home for a 3-game stretch against UTEP, UTSA, and Old Dominion right before the Conference USA Championship. So got a really good shot to remain in that top spot in Conference USA, given we close out with 3 home games out of our final 4 games of the season. And they're looking really good. Again, it's one of those things where it seems like we always have a player of the week in every sport. We got Fankhauser for Offensive Player of the Week right now. So you can't really be mad about anything you're seeing out of either of our soccer teams. Women doing just as good as the men, holding their own and holding down Conference USA like we love to see.
Yeah. The women's team is awesome, and yeah, I love it.
That 5-2 victory over Middle Tennessee State was especially exciting too, because there's 4 corner kick goals, which is really nice, and all 5 of the goals are consecutive. So that's exciting soccer to watch if you're out at Transamerica Field watching the women pour it in like that.
So another sport is volleyball. They're still above 500, 11 and 10. Kind of hit a rough patch once we got into conference play. We're 1 and 4 in the conference, and in the month of October, we are 1 and 3. We lost to Marshall 1-3. We won a tight one against Winthrop 3-2, and then we lost a tight one to FIU 2-3, and then got swept 0-3 against Florida Atlantic on Sunday. So coming up, we've got a little bit of a homestand. So we've got North Texas on Friday, October 18th. That's the Dig Pink match. So come out, wear your pinks, support the ladies. And then that Sunday, we've got Southern Miss. And then we've got North Carolina Central visiting us. And that'll be on UNCC TV. Asking about your TV game, Sean. There it is. And then finally, we'll close out the month of October again at home against Western Kentucky. So got a little bit of a homestand coming up. So try to come out and support the volleyball team. Yumi Garcia is still crushing it. She leads the country in digs with over 400 digs at this point. Just going crazy. And hopefully with this homestand, we can get going. At home, we're 5-1. On the road, we're 2-7. So 4 games at home. Hopefully we can win all 4 of those matchups, get us up to 15-10, and really get us cooking before the final couple matches in November and then the conference tournament.
It's exciting. I know we both like volleyball too. That's always a good one to get out there and watch. And would love to see the women finish out strong here. Another exciting women's sport that just played at home, Charlotte women's tennis had the 49er invite this past weekend, and it was supposed to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They ended up moving all the Sunday matches to Saturday due to foreseen inclement weather. So played a long day on Saturday and actually came out really good. Hosted a lot of wins here across the whole team. Can't even read them all, but they finished the afternoon matches, sweeping singles. There's not really a winner and loser in a invite like this, but the women showed out really well, defeating almost all their opponents from Princeton, ECU, Long Island University. So it's a really good showing, great way to, get the ladies in form in the fall season. And coming up, they actually have select players going to the ITA Carolina Regional, which will be October 24th to the 28th in Winston-Salem. So keep an eye out for that. Love following the women's team and seeing such a dominating performance in our 49er Invitational, which obviously showing up at home is important. And thanks to any fans who came out to support the team while they were home on our beautiful courts, repping the school and repping hard with all those wins.
Yeah, and Anthony is already bringing in some really good recruits. I'm really enjoying Jenna Dean, who moved into Flight A and really battled and got a big win against Princeton. So good for her, and I think that's going to be someone to watch out for throughout the season.
I do too. I think not that anyone's going to unseat Rocio Safant as being the dominant player on the team, but as a freshman coming in and being able to perform like that'd be a good tag team to have a couple sure points down the stretch when you're trying to win good matches where every point counts.
Yeah, and maybe we'll potentially, probably not, but I know how Anthony really emphasizes doubles, and I know how good our men's doubles team is, top 50 in the country last year. Obviously, that first point really sets the tone for the match. Maybe we'll see the two of them pair up at some time.
Yeah, I like to know a lot about all sports. I don't think I can give you good analysis on whether we would see that or not. Just being honest. I love following, but I don't, when you're just hitting around a ball outside, you don't really get a lot of that good analysis on who to pair who with on doubles matchups.
Yep. But you never know. You gotta love the experience with the youth. Good way to train. But I'm just taking my hot takes, trying to help Anthony out. Since I know so much about women's tennis.
Hey, we had a highly ranked men's doubles team last year in the ITA. Let's get a women's one going too, right?
Exactly.
Well, I think that is all the content we have for you today, sports-wise. Anything we missed, Scott?
No, we hit everything pretty well. We'll have a preview for you on the football game against Western Kentucky. That's a big one coming up this Saturday.
Spoiler alert, Scott's going to pick Western Kentucky to win.
The spread's about 9.5 right now, so I might go with Charlotte with a cover.
Well, you'll have to tune in then to see, does Scott actually pick Charlotte for once, or does he stick with his anybody in Conference USA but Charlotte picks he started last week?
Hey, a cover doesn't mean I actually picked them to win, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
But go Niners. I'm still hoping. I'm still believing. I still think we can make a bowl game, but it's got to start this Saturday, and we can't wait to talk about that and hopefully talk about a win afterwards.
Agreed. Until then, though, as always, you can find us on social media at minor_obsession, or feel free to reach out through email, minorobsession49@gmail.com. And as always, wear green.
And go Niners!